Hey everybody, it's Sam from the bench. I keep getting questions on the current setup on the Patrol, so I thought I'd just make a quick little video of just what I have been running, just so people can get a greater idea of what the current setup is, and we'll be able to figure out how to improve it from there. Hope you enjoyed the video. The engine that I have in here is out of a VX Commodore, and it is mostly standard apart from a camshaft and valve springs. And as you can see, we've just got the drive accessories that relocate the AC and the alternator to the top of the motor. I have used the Castlemaine Rod Shop kit for that. It's not a Patrol specific kit, but I found them quite decent. The biggest issue I had is the air conditioning. As you can see, it doesn't leave a lot of room up here. Now, I believe I can actually modify these mounts to actually rotate the AC compressor. And I'm thinking I'll be able to lift this up and pull it closer to the motor. And if I do that, it will give me the few inches I need to actually run the battery. If you're considering getting one of these, it's a great kit. The pump works great. I see about 1 and 2 degrees Celsius at the vents itself running this kit. But yeah, you do need to keep in mind that you do run into clearance issues with the battery. As you can see down here, I've actually had to chop a couple of the ears off the pump. It's just the Sandin, I think 508 from memory. And to get it in, I've actually chopped off a couple of the mounting points that I didn't need to use, which allowed me to get it in there. But it still has clearance issues with the battery itself. If we come over here, if you look at the alternator kit, it's a great kit. It's got a I think it's a CNC machined, might even be billet, I'm not too sure, but a machined aluminium kit. To run this relocation, you do need to use the power steering pump from the VY Commodore. Mind you, I did buy this kit back in 2016. I haven't looked it up recently, so the kits may have changed in that time. But when I bought the kit, it required the VY Commodore power steering pump. And the power steering line I have is actually the factory Nissan line. All I had to do was cut the banjo bolt down, just so it actually mate. Ran a bit of thread sealant on the thread itself, and put a couple new copper washers on, and that sealed up nicely. Over here we have a reservoir. So that's the 2.8 diesel reservoir for the power steering. I did have the mount mounted up on the top of the motor, just nice and close. But I had this at my mechanic's, who thought that was rather ugly, which he probably has a point. He's relocated it over here, which is a much neater setup. But it worked perfectly fine sitting on top of the motor too. It just was a bit of an eyesore. Looking closer at the alternator itself, we can see there's plenty of clearance around there, and fitting the kit itself was no real hassle at all. So, and if you look down here, I'm running the Castlemaine Rod Shop engine mounts, and they're great solid mount. They do have a rubber bush. A lot of people seem to think they're a completely solid mount, which is not actually correct. They do have a rubber bushing in them. It's just the bushing is sealed inside the block there. They're a firmer mount than I would assume the Marks adapters one is, but I've never run the Marks adapters, so I've never actually seen them. But I like the look of them. I like the fact that the pin was entirely enclosed in the mounting block that welds onto the chassis. So if the rubber bush were to tear or fatigue, the worst you're going to get is just a loose fitting engine is not going to flip itself in the engine bay. I actually had that drama with the 2.8. I had one of the engine mounts tear itself, and halfway up a muddy hill, the engine jumped off its engine mount and sat twisted in the engine bay. So I could only imagine how nasty it could potentially be with an engine that's making 2 or 3 times the power. But as far as the transmission adapter, it's got the Marks adapters gearbox adapter plate. It's still running the factory TD42 or TB42 bell housing, just with the adapter plate and that setup. So it's a bit of a mismatch. I did acquire this engine out of a wrecked Nissan Patrol that already had the conversion done. As I found out as I tore into it a bit deeper, there was a lot of rough things about it. There was a lot of things missing, a lot of things just not done, and I found myself having to mismatch equipment to get this in. But as we dig in, we'll find out a lot more about the build. But that's just a rough overview of what's going on here. So I hope that answers a few questions that have been going around. And if you stay tuned, I'll have a video out very soon about the engine electrics and my theory of why the computer kept shutting down after a half an hour's driving. So that should be coming out later this week. If you stay tuned for that, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video answers a few of your questions. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell as well. Cheers, bye.